Good morning everyone. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Little Flower School Rapti Nagar. I am Amit Kumar, your computer science teacher, and this is your 20th video lecture of class 12th A and 12th B. Today's video lecture is actually a doubt lecture. After completion of exception handling in our previous lecture, today I am going to discuss about few doubt questions, few questions on which you raise the doubts by submitting on the link given in the description. And today we are going to discuss on basically 3 topics, but there are few subtopics of those topics. Like the first topic that we are going to discuss today is about converting a sum of product expression to a product of sum expression, that is a SOP to a POS expression. The second one is the vice versa of it, that is converting an POS expression to an SOP expression. Then we are going to see 2 combinational circuits, decoder and multiplexer. So I am trying to explain it again, and this time I am trying with a different example. So I hope I would make myself clear. So the first topic that we are going to start today is about converting SOP, sum of product expression, to a product of sum expression. I hope you all are knowing that sum of product is actually sum of min terms, right? Where actually min terms are product of variables. So if an SOP expression is given to us, it can be converted SOP to POS. So if an SOP expression is given to us, it can be converted by 2 ways. First is by applying involution law. It's a Boolean law which we have studied. So we can apply involution law and we can convert an SOP expression to a POS expression. And second one, which I prefer the most, is by truth table. It is the easiest way of converting any SOP expression to a POS expression. Now POS is product of sum, right? So if a Boolean expression is provided to us which is actually sum of product, then how to convert it into a product of sum? By involution law. So before that, let me tell you for a quick revision what is an involution law. For example, if A is a Boolean variable and we are complementing it twice, that means A complements complement is actually A. Now this is nothing but an involution law. That means to represent A, we can represent it in form of A complements complement. So that is what we are going to do by applying involution law to convert an SOP to a POS. So let's see how we are going to do that. So for that I am taking an example of a simple SOP expression, a very smaller one. Let's take let this function be f1, a and b complement, a and b plus a complement and b complement. Okay, this is the expression. Now we want to convert it into, of course you can see this is sum of product, these 2 are products and it is sum of product. We have to convert it into product of sum. So what we are going to do, we are going to make f1 complements complement, right? So f1 is this whole, so I am going to represent it as a and b plus a complement and b complement. Now this is a term, it's complements complement. Now this is whole f1, so f1's complement by involution law. Now it will give you f1 itself. So now what we are going to do with this complement, we are going to apply it inside, and we are going to apply a law known as De Morgan's law, right? So what it will become, a and b complement, and plus will change into an and here a complement and b complements complement. You can represent this complement as bar or this complement symbol, whole complement. So what had happened, this complement entered inside, it is applied on this bracket and this bracket individually, okay, and this plus changed into an dot or an AND operation. So OR changes into an AND. Now again this complement will enter, so this will become A complement plus B complement and A plus B whole complement. Now you can see this was a sum of product, now it is changed into a product of sum. So this is one of the way we can convert a sum of product into a product of sum by applying involution law and then by applying De Morgan's law over there. Of course, whenever you are doing it, you have to mention in front of it, like here you will mention in front of it in brackets like by involution law. Similarly here also, when you are applying it inside and applying De Morgan's theorem or De Morgan's law, you have to write that. So the next one is by a truth table. So if an SOP expression is given to you and you have to convert it into an POS by a truth table, how you are going to do that? In the beginning only I told you an SOP is nothing but sum of product of sum of min terms, right? So in the truth table we will represent those min terms. So in the output part, min terms are represented by 1. Okay, wheresoever in the truth table you are getting the output, min terms are represented by 1 and max terms are represented by 0. So if we will represent all the min terms over there in the output part, what we would be left with? Of course the max terms. So then we will choose the max terms itself and we will write that product of sum, right? So this is how with the truth table you are going to do that. And for example, I am taking Boolean expression as an example. So that's the last thing and I need quite space for it. Expression is bigger one. So this is function 2 and it is A complement and B complement and C, A complement and B complement and C plus A complement and B and C complement and C complement plus A complement and B and C, A complement and B and C plus A, B and C, A and B and C. So this is the given Boolean expression. Now we will create a truth table for it. Now okay, first create the truth table. So there are 3 input variables. So there will be 8 possible combinations. So write down those combinations over there. So 0 0 0, 0 0 1, 0 1 0, 0 1 1, 1 0 0, 1 0 1, 1 1 0 and 1 1 1. These are the 8 possible combinations. Okay, now we will create an output, that is the function itself. So f2 is the function. Now let's see the output. So it's in A complement, B complement and C, and we are talking about min terms, we are talking about sum of product. So we know in sum of product complements are zeros and normal variables are 1. So it is 0 0 1, 0 0 1, A complement, B complement, C. So this one is one of the min term. The second one is 0 1 0, 0 sorry this one 0 1 0, A complement, B, C complement. The next one is A complement BC, 0 1 1, so this one. And the next one is 1 1 1, so this one. So these are your min terms given according to the Boolean expression which you have made in your truth table. Now what you are left with? You are left with max terms. So these are max terms. I am representing them as zeros. Okay, so you are left with 4 max terms. Now you have to note down these max terms. Now we know in max terms variables are represented normally for zeros and in complement for 1. So it will be A, B and this one will be C complement and the variables will be added together. So it will be A plus B plus C complement. So this one, okay, my mistake, we should work for 0, we should not work for 1. Okay, we should work for 0. So zeros are the max terms, so there are 4 max terms over here, and it will be a plus b plus c, a plus b plus c. It will be a complement plus b plus c, a complement plus b plus c. You can represent complement like that also. And this one is a complement plus b plus c complement, a complement plus b plus c complement. And this one is a complement plus b complement plus c, a complement plus b complement plus c. So once you made the truth table, you represent all the min terms. Whatsoever you are left with are the max terms. You will represent those max terms over there. While representing the max terms, remember that wheresoever 0 is there, it will be normal variable. Wheresoever 1 is there, it will be in complement form. And these variables will be added together, or operation will be performed between them. Once you made the truth table and you have done this much, you will get all your max terms. Now what you need to do, all that you need to do is to note them down, okay, and provide a plus between them. So a plus b plus c, and so product of sum. So these are sum, and now we are doing product. A complement plus b plus c and a complement plus b plus c complement, and let it be, and a complement plus b complement plus c. So hence we converted a SOP, sum of product, into a product of sum. So we have seen both the ways. There were 2 ways to do it. First was involution law, second was by truth table, and I prefer truth table one because it saves a lot of time and effort. But it's up to you. If you like the involution law one, you can do that one also. Both are correct and you will get full marks with any of the ways, because in examination no one will bound you to use a specific way. Now the second one is converting a product of sum to a sum of product. Okay, so there are 2 ways to do that. Let's see. Converting product of sum to sum of product. Product of sum to sum of product. So there are 2 ways. First one is simplification, by simplifying. Okay, so we will use simple Boolean logs and we will reduce the given Boolean expression, and we will get the resultant expression we will get is an SOP expression. And the second one is my favorite, by the truth table. So whichsoever you like, you can choose. We will do one as an example of each. So I have already chosen one function. So this is the third function that we are dealing. Function is a complement plus b complement and a plus b. So a complement plus b complement and a plus b. Okay, I told you we will do it with simple technique, and that is simplification itself. And what is how we are going to do now? See, we are going to perform simple multiplication over there, like in mathematics we do. Similarly here, so this one will be multiplied by this, then this one will be multiplied by this. So it will be like a complement and a plus a complement and b plus, same here. So a and b complement, I am writing in the order, so it can be like anyways, b complement and b. Now we know a complement and a is 0, right? If a is 1, a complement will be 0, their AND operation will be 0. If a is 0, a complement will be 1, their AND operation will be 0. So similarly here b and b complement will be 0. So no need to write down the 0, because 0 or anything is that variable itself. So it will become a complement and b plus a b complement. So you can see a given product of sum is converted into a sum of product. Okay, so this is the first way, by simplification. For this technique, you should remember all the laws, all the Boolean laws which I told you. And you even got the notes of it. So you should remember all those laws. It's even given in your Sumitra Arora book, that book that we are preferring. It's given over there, all the laws in a table. So I hope you should go through those tables, and you should remember all those laws if you want to do by simplification technique. But as I told you, truth table is one of the most time saving techniques. So let's see the fourth function with the truth table. Okay, so the fourth function is again a bigger one, so I am rubbing it out. So you can see truth table is very helpful, especially when you are dealing with a bigger Boolean expression. So this is the fourth function, and this one is a plus b complement plus c complement, a plus b complement plus c complement, and a plus b complement plus c, a complement plus b plus c, and the last one is a complement plus b complement plus c complement. Now we will make the truth table for it. So let's do that. So a, b, c, three variables, their possible combinations, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. 8 possible combinations. Okay, and there will be 8 possible outputs. Now in all these 8 outputs, you should remember we are working with max terms. So a represents 0 and complement represents 1. So it is 0, 1, 1. So 0, 1, 1, and we will represent it as 0 because it is max term. So 0, 1, 1. Second one is 1, 0, my mistake, 0, 1, 0. Okay, a as 0 and b complement as 1. So 0, 1, 0. So 0, 1, 0, this one. The next one is 1, 0, 0. So 1, 0, 0, this one. And the next one is 1, 1, 1, this one. So whatsoever we are left with are min terms. So we will note them down as 1. And we will note down these min terms first. So once we will note down all the min terms, we only need to write them and we will get our sum of product. So this will be, because we are writing min terms, remember that zeros are complement and they will be in product. So a complement and b complement and c complement. This one will be a complement and b complement and c, a complement and b complement and c. This one is a and b complement and c, a and b complement and c, and this one is a, b and c complement, a, b and c complement. So you should remember while working with min terms and max terms that when you have to work with zeros and when you have to work with 1. Max terms are the thing where you have to work with zeros, min terms are the thing where you have to work with 1. Now all that you need is to note them down. So it will be a complement and b complement and c complement plus a complement and b complement and c plus a and b complement and c plus a and b and c complement. Okay, so we again converted a given POS expression to an SOP expression, and this time by truth table. So up to now we have dealt with 2 topics and their subtopics as well. So the next topic that we are going to deal I should say the next 2 topics that we are going to deal are related to combinational circuits. We know combinational circuits are circuits formed by combining different logic gates, and they provide certain output, sometimes one output, sometimes more than one output. And out of the combinational circuits, there are 4 combinational circuits in our syllabus, that are adder, encoder, decoder and multiplexer. Out of the 4 combination circuits, adder is in, there are 2 types of adder actually. One you have already studied in 11, that is half adder, and one I have told you this year, that is full adder. The next one is encoder, which actually converts a given value into binary format, right? Encodes anything into machine language. The next combination circuit is a decoder, which actually converts a binary format or a machine language into normal format. Okay, and the next one is a multiplexer, which actually out of the given inputs is used to select one of the input. So out of these 4 combination circuits, you have asked for decoder and multiplexer. So today I am going to deal with decoder and multiplexer, and I am going to form the combination circuits of each. And I hope I am going to resolve your issue now. And if the problem still persists, okay, you can raise your doubt. We will see any other mechanism or any other example to explain the thing, but not in the consecutive tutorial. The next doubt session will not be the consecutive 3 or 4 tutorials. So we are going to deal with few of the concepts of programming in Java, and if any doubt is there, so you can raise them and I will take care of them together. So suppose if 4 or 5 doubts are there, then only I will make a doubt lecture on those doubts. If in case of only one doubt, I will deal that within any lecture itself. Okay. So let's see the combination circuits decoder. As I told you, decoder is used to convert the given binary number into any other format. For example, a binary into an octal. Okay. So what are the different octal numbers? Do you know? The smallest octal number is 0, the largest octal number is 7. Actually digit, I should say. So the smallest octal digit is 0, the largest octal digit is 7. So rest of the octal digits are these 5, 6. Okay. So there are 4 octal digits. Okay. Now interesting thing is, let's see their binaries. Okay, we are going to get binaries as input. So binary of 0 is 0. Okay, let it be 0. Binary of 1 is 1, or you can represent it as 0, 1. Fine. Binary of 2 is 1, 0. Binary of 3 is 1, 1. Okay, that means from 0 to 3 you can represent in 2 digits itself. But binary of 4 is 1, 0, 0. So if you want to represent 4, at least you need 3 digits. So all of them let's represent in 3 digits. So 5, 1, 0, 1, 6, 1, 1, 0 and 7, 1, 1, 1. That means all the 8 binary digits can be represented in all the 8 octal digits can be represented in 3-digit binary. Okay, the largest octal digit can be represented in 3-digit binary. So all of them can be represented in 3-digit binary. So decoder for binary to octal will have 3 input. Why? Because it needs 3-digit binary. And how many outputs will be there? 8 outputs. Okay, let's assume them as a truth table, because I am going to explain you. Let's assume them as a truth table, and if you want me to separate them, I can separate them, but it will take time only. You will understand it, don't worry. So let's assume them as truth table, and let's represent these inputs as A, B and C, and these outputs as D. So it will be D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7. Okay, so for D0, what is the value of A, B and C, or what is the minterm value? So the minterm value will be A complement and B complement and C complement. If this is output, minterm value will be A complement and B complement and C. Similarly, you can write all the minterm values. So which will be, I am going to write here B and C, A and B complement and C complement, A and B complement and C, A and B and C complement, and A and B and C. Now with the truth table we will come to know, like to get output of any of them, what are the possible inputs for it. For example, for D0 to be an output, A, B and C all should be in complement form. So what we are going to do now to make a decoder, we will make these three inputs in both forms, in normal form and in complement form, and we will make 8 different outputs and 8 different gates to represent 8 different outputs. All these gates will be NAND gates. All these gates will be NAND gates. Okay, so for representing these NAND gates, my mistake, all these gates will be AND gates, though you can do it with NAND gates also, but all these gates will be AND gates, and we will get one output. Okay, depending upon, there are 8 different outputs, but we will get one output at a time depending upon the input values. So let's see, let's do it. Let's create the combinational circuit for the decoder. I told you there will be 3 input lines in both forms, so that will make 6 input lines actually. So normal and complement. This one is normal and this one is complement. This one is normal and this one is complement. Fine. Okay, I rubbed the truth table, but you should remember the values, or maybe you have noted it down, or you can just go back in the video and note it down. So for D0, if you remember, let's suppose this is D0. For D0 as output, the input lines were A complement, B complement and C complement. So I will connect all these 3 complement lines of 3 variables to D0. Now similarly there will be a D1, okay, with an AND gate, Now D1 will be 0 0 1, so A complement, B complement, C. So A complement, B complement and C. So this is D1. Similarly D2, okay, so this will be 0 1 0, so A complement, B, C complement. So this one will be B and this one will be C complement. D3, I am not going to make them all, okay, don't worry, you can do that. 0 1 1, so 0, that is complement, 1 it is normal, 1 it is normal. Similarly you will make rest. The last one will be for D7. Okay, so for D7 it will be A, B and C, so all will be in normal line. So all the input from normal lines, none from the complement. Okay, now you can make a block diagram also while explaining about decoder. Sometimes they even ask. Okay, so it is 3 cross 8 decoder, 3 input lines and 8 output lines. 3 cross 8 means you have to represent 3 input lines and you have to represent 8 output lines. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now suppose you want to convert a binary number into decimal. So what's the largest decimal digit? 9. And if you represent the binary of decimal 9, it will be in 4 bits. So that means to represent, to convert binary into decimal, you need a 4 input binary. So there will be 10 different outputs which you are going to deal. Well, there will be 16 different outputs. There can be 16 different outputs with a 4 input lines, because 2 to the power 4 is 16. But here we are doing with decimal only, so we will take care with 10 from 0 to 9 itself. But of course, if we are making a binary into hexadecimal, still we will need 4 cross 16. So input lines will be 4 itself. For binary to decimal also 4 input lines, for binary to hexadecimal also 4 input lines, but output lines will be 10 and 16 respectively. So that you can do by yourself. Now the next combination circuit that I am going to deal today, and the last topic of the doubt, is multiplexer. Now what is a multiplexer? Multiplex you might have heard, a place where plenty of movies are there, different audios or waves are there, and different movies are running at the same time, and you choose a specific one according to your choice. So what is a multiplexer? Multiplexer is a multiplexer is a hardware which actually allows you, okay, it actually allows you to choose a specific value out of the given inputs. For example, while you are working with the remote control of your television, there are different input values that you can work with, but you will choose a specific input at a time, right? So there a multiplexer is being used. But if you want to choose a specific value, you need some selection lines. So basically a multiplexer sometimes looks like a decoder itself, but there are plenty of difference between a decoder and a multiplexer. The first and the foremost difference between a decoder and a multiplexer is multiplexer always gives you one output, where a decoder has more than one output. Okay, so when you are making a combination circuit diagram for a multiplexer, you should have only one output, first thing. Second thing, here there are some selection lines also. There is no selection line in the decoder, okay, but there are some selection lines also in the multiplexer, and according to these selection lines, a given input is selected out of all the given inputs. A specific input is selected according to the values of the selection line. So selection lines are very important. Now the thing is, for example, if you are working with four different inputs, how many selection lines you need? Okay, so for example, 2 to the power of n is equals to 4, we know. So how many input lines we need? We need n is equals to 2. Okay, so what does it means? That means with 2 selection lines you can work with 2 to the power of n input lines. Okay, so if you want to work with 2 to the power of n input lines, you need n selection lines. So if I am working with 4 input lines, I need 2 to the power of 2, so 2 selection lines. If I am working with 8 output lines, I need 3 selection lines, input lines, sorry. If I am working with 8 input lines, okay, I need 3 selection lines, because 2 to the power of 3 is 8. If I am working with 16 input lines, I need 4 selection lines. Okay, definitely out of the given inputs, only one output will be selected. Fine. Now let's see how to make the combination circuit diagram of the multiplexer. For that, you should know your input lines. Suppose there are 4 input lines, I0, I1, I2 and I3. Okay, now there will be 2 selection lines, of course, S0 and S1. Now there will be, of course, one output only, but out of these, which one will be the output? So when I0 is the output, so let it be output. Okay, so 1, 1, 1, 1. When I0 will be 1, that means when output will be I0. Okay, here output will be I1, here output will be I2, here output will be I3. Now just note down the selection values, so in the binary order itself. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay, so you see, for I0 to be output, selection lines are S1, S0 are 0, 0. That means S1 complement and S0 complement. So I noted down the min term. Similarly here, S1 complement and S0. Here S1 and S0 complement. Here S1 and S0. So we got the values. Now we need to work accordingly. I0, I1, I2, I3, they will always be 1. So let me make them first. I0, I1, I2 and I3. S1 and S0. So there will be 2 possible lines in normal and in complement form. Right, and there will be definitely one AND gate for each output. But there will be only one output, so all these output will be actually combined together. That I will talk later. So see, in every AND gate, these input lines are connected. So I told you they will always be 1. They will represent 1 itself. But for this one is I0. For I0 to be as output, S1 is in complement and S0 is in complement form. So S1 complement and S0 complement. For I1, S1 is complement and S0 is in normal form. So S1 complement, S0 normal form. For I2, S1 and S0 complement. So S1 normal form, S0 complement form. And last one, both in normal form. Okay. So according to the selection values, whichever we will select, we will provide the values here to S0 and S1. According to that, out of these 4 AND gates, one of them will become 1 and rest of them will become 0. We will connect these outputs together and we will form an OR gate. Definitely OR will be 1, but with that OR output we will come to know what is the output, I0 or I1 or I2 or I3 whatsoever. So this is a multiplexer. One of the important use of multiplexer is in converting serial into parallel conversion. Well, this is concept of data conversion which is beyond our syllabus, we will not talk about it. Even in remote controls for selecting a specific channel we use a multiplexer. So there are few applications of multiplexer also which you should remember. Just go through it in your book, and I have also discussed in one of the video lectures. You can go through that. Well, no one asked about the doubt of application. All of you have asked about this one only. One more thing, one block diagram. If you want to represent a block diagram of it, so there will be 2 selection lines, there will be 4 and 1 output lines, right? So this is a multiplexer, and with that topic, today's lecture is over. Hope to meet you in the next video lecture. Till then, all of you have a nice day. Thank you.